What's going on, y'all? I'm here to talk about the buffs and changes and reworks I've made for Spectrier in my ROM hack. Before I get into explaining why I've chose these things, because obviously if you're a competitively minded player and you see here that, there's Spectrier with actual coverage, that might seem a bit crazy to somebody who is I don't know, doesn't really know much about this ROM hack, right? So if you are a new person who's clicking on this video, first of all, shout out to you. I appreciate you clicking on the video. And second of all, I recommend you pause the video and read the description. I've got bullet point lists explaining all of the main philosophies behind the ROM hack and the way it's balanced and the way it's meant to be played. So give that a read if you're new here. And then if you're returning, I appreciate you coming back. As always, I really do appreciate all you guys. Make sure y'all drop a like, sub, all that good stuff. I know it's annoying when YouTubers ask for that, but it really does make a difference with the algorithm and getting my stuff out to more people. I would say a main important thing that's good to look into when you're done with the video, if you haven't done so yet, is the move guide on the Google Sheet. Don't click off the video yet because it'll mess up my watch time, but when you're done, you can check this out. It's got all of the archetypes of moves organized into categories for you to understand, because the moves in this game are all heavily reworked. So yeah, Spectrier, pretty simple overall. So obviously, yes, in a competitive setting, Spectrier with coverage is crazy, because the main thing keeping him in check is the fact that he gets like no fucking coverage. And when you give him coverage, he becomes crazy. But in an in-game context, I mean, they are way crazier. Like even like in regards to having coverage or being fast and strong, like there's faster Pokemon, there are stronger Pokemon, there are ones that have so many better tools. Not that this guy's like bad or anything, not by any means. It's just not inherently insanely overpowered or anything. I will say, especially the main thing that keeps it in check is the speed tier. So 130 is crazy on paper, but you have to keep in mind that this is an in-game ROM hack, right? So you're only getting a plus speed nature 20% of the time. Not to mention, I mean, assuming you're playing as intended. Of course, if you play casually, you can fucking, quote-unquote cheat and just use the mitts to get the nature you want. Of course, if that's how you want to play. But the game is intended to be played a different way, so you can read the description to learn more about how the game is intended to be played. With the intended rules, you're only getting that plus speed 1/5 of the time, and then you're only getting 20 IVs on all your Pokemon. So you're hitting 348. You're not even outspeeding base 110, which obviously, like anything, I think you're 109 and below, you're outspeeding. So that's very good. But it's not like insane, like you can 6-0 every team by just clicking Grim Nay coverage, which is why you have Quick Feet. So on paper, 130 speeds with Quick Feet seems like bad, but it's actually really good because, again, you're only actually hitting base 109 base speed tier. Actually, even 108 because you speed tie, which is basically, if you're in a Nuzlocke context, a speed tie is death. So, yeah, you're hitting 108, man. So yeah, definitely have some use for anything with the speed stat higher than 108. You need Quick Feet to outspeed, or you need a Choice Scarf to outspeed, or you need to click Agility or whatever, right? So, or Trailblaze or whatever, So having that speed control ability is really nice, because Quick Feet also allows you to switch moves, while Scarf does not. Obviously, Scarf plus Grimnay is very strong, but number one, Astral Storm, their signature move, now reworked into Astral Storm, which is renamed for other Pokemon, because Astral Barrage is kind of a weird name. I mean, while Storm is like pretty obviously fitting for most Ghost types. So the downside of that is you can't click it twice in a row, which means you can't use it with Scarf Grimnay. You have to use Shadow Ball, which is 90 base power. It's a good move. It's just not, you have to position it a bit smarter if you want to try to get a Scarf Grimnay sweep. So Quick Feet definitely has really good use, because number one, you can use Astral Storm and then switch to a coverage move on the next Pokemon. You also have a flinch move in High Horsepower, which is really good for a lot of reasons. So Swiftness is an ability you can switch to cheese priority on the AI, because the AI will not often, but infrequently will have strong priority moves to try to stop, faster Pokemon once in a while. So being able to completely counter those is nice. A lot of like fast legendaries will have this type of cheese option. So it's good to, be able to switch to that when you need it. But otherwise, it's not really a factor. Also, this color is off. There we go, I fixed that. Okay. So hopefully that didn't bother anybody, the swiftness being slightly darker. But anyway, High Horsepower is really good because that also bypasses the other speed control that the AI has. So not only do they have priority, they also have Quick Claw, which is a single-use consumable item, which means High Horsepower will outspeed that Quick Claw because of the way Quick Claw works. It'll outspeed it and flinch and burn up the Quick Claw, because the Quick Claw will still actually try to be used up. It's a weird item, but it'll trigger and then it'll be used up, even though they didn't get to attack if you flinch them. So What that means is, yeah, you can high horsepower to burn the quick claw. You can also high horsepower to get a free quick feet trigger on a lead. If you want to, like, for example, there's a lead with a focus sash, or even just a lead with, I don't know, sturdy, energy shield, or just a lead in general. Clicking high horsepower to get a free immediate quick feet to then be able to outspeed that lead the next turn without having to take damage or switch in is nice. Obviously, quick feet is also easy to trigger because, so protect is no longer a thing if you're curious as to why that is. You can pause the video right now and read this wall of text, or you can watch the video for moves and skip to the protect section and read that, listen to that. It's up to you. But anyway, Spectrier essentially, man, I keep clicking the wrong link. Spectrier has tons of good coverage, which is great with quick feet, especially because you can switch moves. With Scarf, you're locked into the one. Grimnay is still great. I don't want to get it twisted. It is very good still, but it's like quick feet is what you'll be using most of the time, just to outspeed everything and just go for crazy coverage. And you can also run Flame Orb with quick feet because you're a special attacker, which means you're taking very little damage, basically negligible damage each turn. So you can use all your strong coverage moves like Eternal Beam, Aura Sphere, Psychic, all this fun stuff, you know, Moonblast, etc. Burning Jealousy. Even like Terrain Pulse and Weather Ball can be good. Even like physical moves like Headlong Rush, or despite being, you know, only 65 base attack, it's still a 120 power move, so you could even still use those to like kill some things if you need it. Mostly that's just for flavor though, because I give it to like all these like horse charging type Pokemon, hence why they also have like Wild Charge and all the other stuff. Setup is fine, like Quick Feet, Calm Mind, sure, I guess. Quick Feet, Nasty Plot, sure, I guess. But you're kind of frail, very frail on the physical side. It's not very frail, actually, because you do have 100 base HP, so your HP really does save you there. And then they have really good special bulk, 100-100. Especially because with Quick Feet, you're not going to need any speed EVs. You can run 0 speed investment and still outspeed the entire game with a Quick Feet boost. So essentially, you can switch in with max HP, take the hit, and then get the Quick Feet to trigger. So that's all cool. You do have some limited utility options. You know, you got your U-turn, your Will-O-Wisp, you've got your, you know, Bitter Malice, which drops attack and special attack, and stuff like that. Soul Absorb, Haze, you know, Disable. Once in a while, you can tack those on with Move Relearner, but just by the nature of this thing's abilities and stats, you'd probably be using it offensively most of the time. And just by the nature of its design, too, it doesn't really make much sense to have, like, too much crazy utility or be super defensive or anything. But yeah, great coverage. Quick Feet's really cool. Grimnay is nice. Swiftness is a useful thing to switch on. What else was I talking about? Oh, the fact that you're also a ghost type means you have your immunities, right? So you can switch in on a fighting or normal move and get a free Quick Feet trigger for like literally with no risk, right? So that's another easy way to get your orb to trigger if you're not using high horsepower on the lead to trigger your orb, because of course you can switch in and get the orb to trigger at the end of the turn. So yeah, super easy to use Quick Feet. Probably the main ability you're going to be using most of the time, unless you're trying to set up like a Grimnay Shadow Ball thing, or versus like a mono type boss. You know, you could try to use like a coverage move that hits a lot of their mons neutrally or super effectively. Say you hit 2 Pokemon that come out super effectively, and then you get +2, and then the next one is neutral but they still die. You know, that kind of scenario can definitely work with Scarf. So still good with that. Yeah, that's basically it. Thank you for listening. If you did make it to the end, you could even do like a T-Spike Hex Grimnay. That goes really fucking hard because Hex is now 70 power. So I might even have to nerf that at some point because T-Spikes is so much easier to set up now versus AI with Move Relearner. There's no opportunity cost to setting up a T-Spike with one of your allies. So very cheesy Hex T-Spike combo. You know, T-Spike, eject button, T-Spike, switch move into your Spectrier, Scarf Grimnay. You're golden. You can just kind of win as long as they don't have any ghost immunity or something that has Quick Claw to outspeed you or whatever. You can just get a bunch of kills with Hex and Grimnay. I do foresee that I might have to nerf that to 65 at some point in the future, but for now it's 70. Same with Shock. So yeah, thank you for listening. If you made it to the end, I do appreciate you very much if you did, and I'll be back for more coming up, y'all. Peace. Damn, only 8 minutes. Is there anything else I'm gonna talk about real quick before I end it off? I don't really think so, man. It's a very straightforward mon. I mean, the coverage all makes sense. You know, it's a ghost horse, like a legendary ghost horse, so stuff like Aura Sphere and Eternal Beam makes, you know, Moonblast makes perfect sense, especially if you read the decks. It talks about, like, coming out at night, dashing through the night, absorbing the life force of sleeping creatures. Obviously, they only give it no coverage because of balancing reasons, but in this type of context, it doesn't matter as much. So, tons of coverage. Let them cook, you know, it's cool. Nothing crazy at all, really. So, yeah, I think I'm going to leave it off here, guys. Thank you for listening, and I'll be back for more coming up. Peace.